Hey, you guys. Today we're going to be talking about how I ease myself into New Year's resolutions or new resolutions as a whole. I am one of those odd people whose favorite day of the week is Monday. I love new months. I love my birthday. And of course, I love New Year's. Now, first things first, I am one of those people who has also made every large change in my life pretty much centered around a New Year's resolution, right? So if you're one of those people that might feel discouraged from that, don't worry about that. Some of us all take to resets in different ways. And so, first and foremost, over here, you're going to talk to yourself nice, okay? And we're going to be kind to ourselves. Next, this is not your normal traditional video. I'm going to give you guys a range of things, and you just take what resonates, what feels like it could be natural for you or that you like or sparks your curiosity, and leave what doesn't. Okay. All of these things may not work for you, but this is my pretty much entire go-to system when it comes to changing my life, making new goals, accomplishing anything. And I think that is very reasonable. And I look at it from multiple angles because sometimes one way of doing things is not going to work. And like I said, I'm always about being kind to myself, but let's just get started with the top. Be kind to yourself, romanticize your life, and only do the stuff that you want to do. I know that sounds really easy to say. It might even give a little bit of cliche, but I assure you that it's not. My very first experience following a content creator who encouraged spoiling yourself was Indefinite Honeymoon. If you guys do not know who she is, her name is Amira, and she spoils herself, and her husband also spoils her. But what I love about their platform is that it's mostly her. And a lot of the things that she's talking about are coming from a how she shows up for herself perspective. And sometimes, like, as a single woman, when I see like content creators that are married talking about certain things, sometimes I just simply can't relate. And so I don't have a lot of patience for their content because your plans involve your significant other and things like that, and that's just not where I am. So don't be discouraged if you're like, well, she's married, girl, and I'm not, or guy, or whatever. I think she's a great person to follow for these things. And she's just very kind to herself. Like, I loved how when I first started following her, she was very much she was acknowledging the ways that she feels. It made it valid for her. And so I feel like she was one of the first people that gave me permission to be a spoiled brat, for lack of better words. And I think that for a lot of people, that is not how we were grown up, right? Like, we grew up a certain way, and sometimes, like, there's some pushback for wanting to do things nicer, or not wanting people to be mean to you, or like wanting a trainer that don't talk to you crazy. Like, nobody want to feel guilted trying to get their life together, because at the end of the day, everything can't be together all the time. And I think that if we really want these changes in our life to last for the long term, then we have to have a real systematic approach for getting these things to stick. So, there are a couple of things that I think help me romanticize my life, and also some things that I took away from my life that I said, you know what, let me take this out because this doesn't make me feel good. Okay. These might be drastic for you depending on where you're starting at, and so just remember that you can always start at the very beginning and go to the craziest extreme. Okay. So first and foremost, I like to make a new set of waist beads. So these are my waist beads right now. I don't have an up close picture. I normally get my waist beads from Waist Beads by Fatu. I love her site. She gets beads from Africa and different countries there. She hand makes them. She does all different types of things, but I love her energy. And I like waist beads because I feel like it's a cute gesture, especially if you're doing like weight loss or whatever. Like, if you're creating magic from scratch, I feel like the little things keep you excited throughout the day. So for me, because I'm getting back in the gym and moving my body and trying to eat better, waist beads, and mind you, waist beads is something that I got on maybe like 10 years ago. And I have this huge list of ways that I approach new resolutions, but back then I didn't have all of that, right? And so waist beads have stayed with me for a long time. If you do nothing else, I just feel like if you want to do something that's super cute, make you some waist beads or order you some. These are some that I usually get a set made by her every year. I'm on a budget right now, and so I found a whole bunch of them that I have broke from past years from her, and I just restrung them on a really strong string, something like fishing string or like all natural cotton string. I like the fishing string because it's more water resistant with the showers. But picking the colors, like being intentional about every single thing. Like I pick colors that, like sometimes I like really dark colors. If you didn't notice, a lot of these have a white base to them. I'm trying to embody more light. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to not be in a depressed place for this year. I think I've been doing really good with my anxiety, and so I'm trying to embody more light. Whatever your reasons are, pick colors for you. If you're trying to conceive, maybe picking colors that have to do with fertility, or if you're trying to like, put up boundaries, maybe do blacks. And I'm stone cold with it. Like I don't know, but the point is that it is a visual representation without having to use the scale. Like sometimes just like for me, I don't wear an Apple Watch anymore. I found that it was giving me anxiety. Now I can also be honest and say it was giving me anxiety because I was not near the levels that I felt like I should have been on there. But I found that there were just other ways for me to track that just respected my nervous system a little more. Okay. And so waist beads is one of those because I know how it look when I first wake up in the morning and that stomach is on flat. And depending on the decisions that I make throughout the day will depend on if they up close to my titties or is they hanging down like, okay, little flesh stomach, I see you. And so I think that they help me, right? Next, when it comes to vision boards and things like that, whatever you create visually to help you, whether that's hand making a collage, or if you do the gluing the pictures on the board, or if you want to use ChatGPT, or whatever it is that you want to use, I highly suggest putting it on your phone screen and screensaver because you need to see it every day. On your wall is not enough, okay? Putting it on your laptop screen. Who's calling me? I'm not even sure who that is. Put it on your phone screen and on your screensaver, I think are really great ways to remind you and re-encourage you about what you're working towards and things like that. Next, I suggest decorating a canvas notebook. So for example, this is mine. Okay. Now, hear me out. No, I am very much so type A. I like things organized, and I thought I could not live without lines on paper. Hear me out. This is a canvas notebook, like a drawing kind. And so the paper is really thick. And I got it from Five Below. And I started this last year, and I really have loved it. And then I decorated the front. Like I just redid it and put a whole bunch of shit on there that I liked. So this is a little printer that I have. It doesn't need ink. It just heats up from inside. Like all you gotta do is charge it. As long as it's charged, it will heat up whatever. And then you download the app. You send a picture to it. I love it. I printed out on paper that also can be used as a sticker, so it sticks. So like you can stick it to the front of your notebooks or on your walls or whatever. I'm going to put it in the caption. It's super affordable, but I really like this. So I decorated my notebook, and I have another notebook as well. This one has all my notes for like content and things like that, but I have another one where I journal because I'm trying to find a way to incorporate journaling in my life. Like whether I want to journal or not, at this point, people aren't telling us to do it because, for shits and giggles, we know that it works, whether you've discovered why it works or not, right? So finding cute ways to encourage me to do the things I'm supposed to do is a big part of romanticizing my life, right? All right. And then we'll talk about vision boards at the very end. So I have a manifestation checklist that I do and create before I start a goal so that way I can like get my mind into it. We'll do that at the very end. All right. Next. When it comes to my mindset, I take on the mindset of Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is a book. I will tag it below. I know everybody is not a reader or audiobook person, but there's also a clip that I'm going to draw. It's like a 10-minute clip. And even if you have not read the book, I think that this 10 minutes from the book is really a great way to not even psych yourself out, but to approach completing things with logic. Like, it literally makes so much sense that it's not intimidating. And it's called Atomic Habits. Atomic as in like the atom, the tiniest thing, like a particle. And just to sum it up, he basically says that a lot of times people try to reach their goals by thinking of the end goal, and that's not how it works. We know that, you know, growing and getting better comes with time. It comes with the number of reps. You have to get the number of reps. And so he reverses it and is like, if you put more energy into planning to actually make it happen, you have a better chance of actually doing it. By simply focusing on not the end goal, but just not skipping 2 days twice. If you set a goal for something and you just, even if you can't do it every day, if you just say, I'll never skip 2 days in a row, you would have at least done that thing 50% of the time. And a lot of times in our mind, we are naturally negative and pessimistic. And so we say, well, that's just 50%. That's an F. Well, I want you to realistically ask yourself, do you do at least every other day of the goals that you've set for yourself? Do you even do once a week? Most of the time it's no. Because we refuse to do the tiniest things, we never actually commit to these goals and make it a part of our lifestyle. How you feel is valid. Creating new routines is very difficult. It's very difficult because also sometimes we set routines that are not attainable. They literally are not attainable. If you set a routine and you can't do it for a week, you need to change it. It's too hard for you. You have too many big ass jumps in there. Be kinder to yourself. And the best way to help you do something repetitively is to have a continuous reward. And so being able to give yourself that gold star or whatever helps more than you think. The fact that you did it. The fact that you did it. Think about it. When it comes to your steps in your watch, whatever, it's getting the 10,000 steps that encourages you and makes you want to do it again and again and again. That's why I took off the watch, because I wasn't hitting the steps. And honestly, ego-wise, I didn't want to drop my number to 7,000 or whatever, right? So we know that there's a reward part of us that wants to feel a certain way when we accomplish something. And so if you make the goal too large, the steps, the measurement steps too large, odds are you're not going to do it. But if you do something, so for example, a lot of people are like, I want to get back into reading. And so they think they have to do a book a month. A book a month is not necessarily as consistent as it sounds. And the odds are a lot of people make a goal like that and then they never do it. But if you say, my goal is to read 5 pages every night, now you can hit that goal and you do make time for it every day. And the odds of you adding more onto it because you're having more capacity certain nights is actually higher. It's actually higher. So it's just a kinder approach to getting stuff done, like realistically. Because if the way that you had been setting goals was working, it would be working. You know, I don't mind resetting goals because I give myself also enough time to implement these things, which brings me to my next topic, which is when it comes to mindset, I always go back to the reality of the calendar and how the calendar works. In Western culture or whatever, New Year's is right snap in the middle of the winter, where everything is not alive. Everything is sleeping and hibernating and everything else. And that's not real. I don't know who created that and how long ago, but the new year, the energetic new year, and for life itself starts with the spring solstice, which is springtime. So that's usually like the end of March going into April time, right? When spring happens, Easter, around all those things. And so as a person who loves new beginnings and Mondays and beginning of the weeks and beginning of the months, of course, I'm going to use any opportunity to celebrate. But I start my new year in December very gently. So that way, by the time actual spring comes, I'm into a realistic groove. I have worked out all of the kinks. If I set a routine that did not work, I've had time to go in and change it, amend it, and I've already seen a little bit of progress. By the time spring comes, I'm making such drastic measurements of change because I've given myself a couple of months to find a routine and ease in gently. Right? A lot of people want to look good for the summer. And so they start not on purpose, but they end up starting in the spring and they don't give themselves any time to actually fail or not do the best or to just do a little at a time, that by the time summer gets here, they get overwhelmed and then they skip it all together, right? My goal is to create a life that I don't need a vacation from. I'm trying to create a life that I don't have to get prepared for certain things anymore. It's just certain things like looking fit, being healthy, not eating a whole bunch of crap. Like that's a day-to-day lifestyle, right? And so I'm looking for changes that can be maintained over a long period of time. Anyways, so next, in thinking about the calendar, I also look at astrology. So when it comes to routines, the new year, knowing like January, for example, January is normally like the bulk of that is Capricorn season, right? Capricorns are very meticulous. They are big money months. I mean, that's when people do their taxes, things like that. So I also look at the astrology standpoint of it, which is what are the focuses of the Capricorn zodiac. So just Googling what are the traits of Capricorn and applying those to my life. And if you want to take it a step further, I look at my chart and I go through the houses and see which house does Capricorn rule over for me. And I do that every single month to make sure that I'm not biting off more than I can chew. And also so that I could just see astrologically, what does it say I should be focused on each month? And so if you want to know more about that, make sure that you're showing up to, if you guys don't know that we meet on Patreon 2 times a week on Sundays and Wednesdays. Sundays is for like life lessons, learning how to do things, accountability group, like shit, stuff like this. And then Wednesdays is for intimacy discussions. If y'all don't know, I also am a sex educator. And so on Wednesdays, we talk about that. So we're pushing our lives forward with our goals in all areas, intimately and holistically and self and all that other stuff. So if you need to know how to research your own, I'm not an astrologer, but I do think it's very important for people to learn how to research their own chart so they can use the information, then check me out over there. All right. So, and also slow and steady. I go slow and steady. Sometimes I also jump into things radically. So sometimes, because it is winter, do I really feel like doing anything? No. So this is a time for me to go slow and steady. That it's like, if I can do even one thing a day, that's good type thing. And, but also I acknowledge how I feel. Sometimes like when I have let my weight maybe get like past my desired size, or I feel like, dang, it's been a long time, or I ate crazy, da 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 da. Sometimes I do like drastic measures. I like 3-day fasts. I like 3-day water fasts and things like that. Like I like things that will help jolt me into things, so that way when I come off that hard level, I can be ready for the normal changes that I want to implement on the day to day, right? Sometimes it's easier to start off with a 30-day challenge and then move into the smaller steps. Everything you want to do is valid as long as you do it. And what I'm saying is, hold yourself accountable. Do not tell me, Samia, I don't want, if I want to be a reader, but I don't have any time to read. And I say, oh, well, try audiobook. And you say, oh, well, I don't like audiobooks. Okay. So you don't want to be a reader. You have to pick something. You have to pick something. What are you willing to do? And that's really how I approach a lot of my goals. What am I willing to do? So that moves me into another area of this. Okay, so let's talk about our day-to-day routine. So I like to approach my day-to-day routine with some sort of version of the 75 hard challenge. I know you probably like, Smile, you said we was going to ease into making these changes. What are you talking about? Hear me out. 75 hard, when I say it, it's just like the framework. Okay, when I say framework, I mean the way they have it set up, I like that, and I just take it and I adjust it. So sometimes I do 75 easy. Sometimes I don't ever do, well, most times I don't even do actual 75. I usually do 30. And for each month, I pick, similar to the original challenge. And if you guys don't know what 75 hard challenge is, I'll put that below as well, or just Google it, 75 hard challenge. And so usually I do it by 30 days just because also a little bit of ADHD in there. So sometimes I'm like focused on different things. But it helps to incorporate atomic habits for me, like little things. And after I feel like, okay, I got caught up on this, I'm doing better with this, I don't think I actually needed to be on my day-to-day checklist. Sometimes I change it out with something different. But I approach my life with a version of 75 hard, depending on where I'm at. So, excuse me. I don't drink, so that's not really a part of mine. But I might say, oh, I'm not going to do any sweets. You know what I'm saying? That might not need to be a thing that needs to be on yours. It's not about giving yourself a whole bunch of rules to follow. It's about giving yourself a specific couple of areas to focus on, so that way you're not trying to focus on your entire life one at a time. And what I love about the format of 75 Hard is that you can really go in and change it however you desire. Okay? It's about accomplishing it. I don't care what you change it to if you don't actually do it. If it's been a month and you didn't forgot about this, then you did not do a good job picking new things. And if you didn't say, you know what, this isn't working for me, let me go back in and do something different, then it's not working. You're not being kind. It's okay if what you choose on the first time doesn't work. But don't have such an ego that you're like, no, that this is what I should be doing. Reading 10 pages, walking 3 miles a day, da da. But if you can't do it consistently, it's too hard for you. It's too hard for you. It's too hard. It's too much. Stop judging. Y'all ever been at the store and you be like, that's too big for me. And then you go into the dressing room and it fit just right. It's actually a little tight. It's okay. It's okay. Because a lot of times we have a lot of judgmental things to say about like measuring how good we did and things like that. But the truth is, living is hard. Be kinder. Be kinder. And if you're kinder to yourself, you'll be kinder to others. It'll just, it'll just all go in together. Anyways, I love routines and I think they are very important. Even if you have a flexible routine, routines are still important because that is how you show up for yourself every single day. If you are healing, you include healing into your routine. If you're trying to get healthy, you include it into your routine. Like your routine is making sure that you're getting 1% better every day. It's making sure that you're not skipping or taking advantage of things that are going to be a problem when you 40 or 50 or whatever, right? And so a lot of time that has a food. What I like about 75 Hard is that it has a food component, it has a discipline component, it has a workout component, da 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 da. Let me tell you mine. Mine is that I've realized I need to meditate, I need to move, I need to journal, drink enough water, and take in information. Okay? What does that look like in my schedule? I believe that my schedule needs to start off with 10. I need to meditate at least 10 minutes a day. That really should be the bare minimum, but 10 minutes a day. I say 10 minutes a day for me because once I do get into it, I really do like it, right? If you are just starting off, the way I used to start off was with 3 minutes a day. Okay? You can find the Calm app or a meditation app, or you could just set a timer and you could just breathe. We'll talk about how to meditate, or I'll put a video up here, how to meditate and what is a separate video. But what we know is all the millionaires, all the healthy people, all of them are saying the same thing. These things we need to be doing. Moving our body. We need to be breathing. We need to be meditating. We need to be journaling, right? Even if you don't understand why, we know that it's important. And so even just adding it to your routine to find a way to do it that sticks. For example, journaling was one of those things that has been very difficult for it to stick for me until I found a way that it resonated with me. My friend, shout out to Wayne, lost his mother some years back, and he told me about, we were talking about journaling. I was telling him that, like, honestly, it's just hard for me to get with it. Like, I prefer to talk, da 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 da. And he was saying, I felt the same way too. And he said he was going through his mom's stuff and he found her journals. And there were things that she was talking about that he was going through then in his life. And so he was able to receive advice from his mother, even though she was not physically here with him anymore. And I just thought that was so impactful and intentional. And so sometimes we start habits not even for ourselves, but we know that once we get into it, it will eventually be for ourselves. And so sometimes journaling, I love that idea, right? Like of being able to leave my child something that helps them through. He also said that there were certain things that he got to hear about from her perspective. He said he remembers some years that he felt like they were the best years of his life, only to find out in her journals that she was going through one of the toughest times of her life. So it helped him to grow into loving her as a woman, not just his mother, right? So there was that situation. Next, another way that I realized that I resonated with journaling was for goal keeping, right? So what I found was that when I actually learned what new moons and full moons meant, that New moons is when usually you start a new cycle of something. Whether you realize it or not, around a new moon, you usually have a new idea and then you kind of see it through for 30 days. And then a full moon is usually where you release something, like full, like bladder, like you release something. Anyways, I'll make sure I add that to the other things, come back to talk about it. If y'all want me to talk about it, let me know. And so if you actually keep up with the moon cycles, it's easier for you to have a smoother year. Hear me out. I'm just here to live a life of ease. Okay. So you could take it if you want to or not. But a lot of times we don't even have the proof that these things work because we don't have a recollection of it. And also sometimes we will feel like we don't know what's going on. I'm kind of confused, da, 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 da. Writing about what idea was coming into fruition at a new moon and then being able to look back at that when the full moon comes up 6 months later. If y'all don't know, new moons, so for example, it's Capricorn season. The new moon for that time will be in Capricorn. The full moon will be in the opposite sign, which is Cancer, which means that the Cancer new moon happened in Cancer season, right? Like July. Whatever I was manifesting or working on during that new moon just came full circle when this full moon in Cancer comes up. A little bit confusing, but I say all that to say having it written down in your journal is a great way to remember what you were working on and how it's actually showing back up and like seeing the patterns in your own life. A lot of times astrology, numerology, and all those other tools in which to understand our life are a little bit difficult to understand is because we're not really interested in the entire topic. We just interested in how it specifically relate to us. The best bookkeeper for your life is you. Okay? Okay. Also, I think that journaling is really good if you want to process things on your own. And that really does help strengthen your intuition. I don't like it when I feel like I have to ask other people their opinion before I really confront myself. And so journaling helps with that too. Also, I love using this as my journal. I have a different one that's specifically for my journal, but the pages can be whatever you want them to be. That's what I really do like about, there is a gnat in here and it's annoying me. What I really do like about this canvas notebook is that you can do all kind of things. Like you can print things, cut them out and write around it. You can use that little printer thing and print a picture of like an experience that you had and then write around it. You can do charts, you can make lists, you can do brain dumps. Each page can be different. And what I did was I decorated the front as one way and then on the back, I decorated it as well. I think I messed up on this one, but the other one I decorated like it was upright. So that way when I opened each side of the note, see, I wrote on it properly. So this one, I wrote on this end and then I flipped it on the other end. I also wrote from here because a lot of times we start notebooks and we never get all the way through it. So I start in one direction talking like that might be my journals. And then on the other direction might be my lists or like I said, I like lists and notebooks and journals and things. All right. I lost my spot. Let me find it. Okay. So there's that. Next, I like to have go-to lists to make life easier for me. So, for example, my workouts for this year, I made a go-to list of the things, the hobbies that I want to work on. I can't do everything. If I could, I would, but I can't. So, I know for a fact that just to have good health in my body, it is such a blessing to have a body that works. I have no ailments. And my best friend is a doctor of physical therapy. And he says that a lot of people come to him when they get in car accidents or their body is hurting. But then they start hurting when they're older and they think it's a normal part. But it's because we literally are not moving our body. And he's like, people are getting surgery because they're just not moving, right? So I said, you know what? After I dropped my son off at school, I could go to the gym right away. There is no reason that I can't. So I actually got with a physical trainer who I used to use back in the day. And first of all, it's a woman. Two, similar to how I started off this video with like finding people that are talking to you nice. She's like that. She has lost weight before. She does not believe in being mean to yourself to get through anything. Like, we done with that. Okay? Like, yes, hold ourselves accountable, but life is hard. And I like working with people that understand and can resonate with how difficult it is sometimes to simply just show up for yourself. So anyways, she had a new app come out. And so I'm doing that. It's like $100 a month and it has meal plans. It has has all the things, the workout or whatever. So you could do it from anywhere. But I'm doing hers. And what I liked about working with her in the past is that she let me choose what type of diet I wanted to do. She was like, what do you want to eat? She was like, don't tell me you want to eat something if you're not going to eat it if I'm going to put it on the meal plan. And I don't know if y'all know me, but I'm a person that can like eat the same thing every day. So I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been in a salmon and egg kick. I was either eating salmon and eggs for breakfast, salmon and like vegetables for like a meal, and then or I would just do a piece of salmon. Like I was at a point where I was just tired of cooking. This was like some years ago. And she said, okay. And I lost 40 pounds. I lost 40 pounds because she was like, I need you to tell me the truth so I can just plan properly. Because she was like, at the end of the day, it's about a deficit. And I was like, I didn't understand what she meant. But basically, she was like, whether you do keto, whether you do fasting, whether you do whatever it is that you're doing, either way, it will come from a deficit. Either you'll eat a lot and then you'll lift a whole bunch. She was like, but Samia, what do you want to do? And so we had a very honest relationship, and I realized that's just the type of holistic trainer that she is. Like, she just wants to know, what are you really going to do? And so I choose my dietary restrictions off of what I feel like I can commit to the most. This time I'm doing keto. Why? Because I did keto before and I lost a lot of weight from it. I love seafood. I like butter with my seafood. I like lamb chops. I like salmon. I don't necessarily need to have rice and potatoes every time I eat. I don't. I would prefer to be able to eat crab. If I can't eat crab on what I'm doing, then I don't want to do that. So I found that keto resonated the most with what I was trying to do. And then when I did have an urge for like pasta and carbs like that, there are some keto friendly bread options, or I would do like zucchini noodles and stuff like that. And so it worked out for me. If that's not what works out for you, don't do that, you know? And if you feel like I don't want to have no dietary restrictions, maybe look into fasting. I liked intermittent fasting. I did intermittent fasting and keto together, and that helped me out so much because I just didn't have I'm gonna say devotion, not discipline. I didn't have the devotion. No. I didn't have the discipline at that time to stay away from things. And sometimes it's just like telling a kid. If you tell a kid no, that's all they're gonna think about. And so you have to remember that you are reparenting your own self, right? And so I was like, well, I don't really want to give up nothing. And she said, okay, well, you can do intermittent fasting. And at first I started off, I think, not eating maybe like 12 hours of the day. And then I was able to eat for the other 12 and stuff like that. But by the time I got into it good, I would fast for 18 hours of the day and then I would eat for 6. And so depending on how your day works, sometimes that works for you. If you already skip breakfast, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can find a way to make it work. And so she would say, as long as you ate the proper amount of protein and your fats and you didn't, whatever, either way, it still will put me in a deficit. You see what I'm saying? So finding a dietary way, something that you resonate with that would already stick with you, is really good. Okay. Also, do not sleep on, what was that thing called? Jenny Craig? Stop playing with me. Was it Jenny Craig? The one that Oprah had did that one time where you get like the little points? Was it Jenny Craig? What is it called, y'all? Damn, it was on Sex and the City too. It's not Jenny Craig. Damn, I can't remember what it's called. It was like, do something points. I forgot what that app was called. Hold on, let me look it up. Okay. I gotta remember what it's called. But anyways, I like that one because it gave you points. Like, all fruits and vegetables was 0 points. Like, so you could eat as much fruits and vegetables as you like. And then it's really gonna bother me. What the hell is it called? Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is if you're trying to figure out a way to ease into losing weight, I swear by Weight Watchers. It's so easy. And the point is that no matter what, you lose weight when you're at a deficit. Either you can pump iron and your body will burn more and then you're allowed to eat more, Or you cannot work out at all and eat less. And it's the things that you eat that make you look, it's a whole nother topic for another day. I say that to say, I liked Weight Watchers because it was a kind way of easing into a new routine. Sometimes when you ease into these things too hard, you don't sustain. Also, when you try to jump in there and do everything at once, you hit a plateau much faster. If your body ain't used to working out, you can lose probably like 10 pounds just walking every day for like a month because it's more than what you were already doing. There's no reason to start at all the way at this top. You know what I'm saying? So by the time April get here, that real New Year get here, you okay. All right. So I choose the types of workouts that I want to have at this time. So for me, I chose jumping rope. Excuse me. So I am going to the gym because I do have a gym membership, but that's a given. Like I said, I just want that to be a part of my everyday routine lifestyle. But I do need to be more movement based, and also I'm a hobby person. So some of my hobbies are active and some are not. Active hobbies are like skating. I'm sorry, I want to be a smooth operator but a skater, okay? I want to be a smooth operator but a skater, and I'm nowhere near that. I have been a beginner for probably going on 4 years, and so I am focused this year on making an intentional effort to do more than go skating on Mondays, but adding tennis courts back. Okay. Also jumping rope. Jumping rope is another hobby. And I say hobby because I keep a jump rope on me, especially because I'm always in a van. But I found a jump rope girl that be like jumping to the playlist and stuff. Girl, she be getting it. Okay. So I'm really excited to do that. I also like things that I can add to my content, and because I am a van lifer, sharing how I live an alternative lifestyle is very important to me. Do not revolve your lives around content. This works for me because this is a part of my actual job, media, period. So but I'm just explaining how I chose my choices. Next, I'm trying to make space for more yoga and hopefully escalating to aerial yoga. Aerial yoga is like the fabric that's hanging or whatever, and then you do all the little flippy things or whatever. I want to do that because also a lot of van lifers are able to take that with them. Things that I can do on the road, whether I'm in civilization, in a city, or I'm ducked off in the woods. A lot of people use their aerial slips and they put them over large trees in the forest. And so that's something that I will hope to like lead up to one day. So getting back into yoga because I also need to be stretching more, and also as a person that be on the spectrum, ADHD and neuro spicy as fuck, doing activities that calm my mind is very important to me. So that, and then bar and Pilates. I say bar and Pilates because I use ClassPass. If you are not sure what you want to do and you're just trying to figure it out, that is also a thing. I'll drop my ClassPass link for you guys. If you sign up, I also get some points, which is really helpful just living a minimalistic lifestyle because my income is just not all the things, but also just because, period. So when you get your link, you share it with your friends and you'll get extra points. Anyways, I like ClassPass depending on the city. Because you can do a whole bunch of things for less than what it costs without a whole bunch of memberships. So try that out, okay? These are gentle ways of just adding movement to your life until you can figure out what works for you. Also, I have incorporated short walks, like things that are like less than 2.2, 0.3. I've just decided to start walking if I can. Yeah, that's self-explanatory. Also, we have our new puppy joining the family, our dog joining the family. So I'll be more movement that way as well. So, all right. So accountability groups, like I said, if you can get you an accountability group, do that. If you want to join ours, you can join my Patreon. You'll get access to all the things I've created, from like BTS of my other podcasts, all of my sex education content. But one of the things I really love is that you'll get active with what I'm doing now, with these lessons and weekly check-in groups intimately and holistically on Sundays and Wednesdays. And so I truly do think that if you're making an accountability group, here are my suggestions to you. I've used an accountability group at every level of my life for like the last 5 or 6 years. And accountability groups are not about having your best friends in them, because a lot of times you get too comfortable and you don't actually move forward. When it's someone that you're not that close with, you actually hold it to a higher standard of showing up for yourself, because that person don't know you. So you're not trying to make a fool of yourself, and you care about your name and, whatever. So, yeah, some type of accountability group. And use your calendar. Use your calendar until it becomes second nature. Add it to your calendar. Add it to your calendar. Add it to your calendar. Even if you don't do it, even if you're trying to. When I made my first podcast, I had a podcast meeting on my calendar for a year before I actually sat down and actually asked myself, what does me having a podcast look like? I know that's like crazy, but hold space for the things you want to do, even if you're not at doing them yet. Something. Do something. You don't have to ignore it, feeling embarrassed because you are not able to commit. But you have to do something. You have to do something. Okay? But also just using your calendar helps, because we make time for everything else, and we always say, well, oh, I'm going to do it, da 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 da. And you don't. You don't. Okay? If nothing else, I want you guys to try and make some holistic changes in your life. Everything is not about doing something. Sometimes it's about removing something. Unfollow the people who make you not feel good about yourself. Not because they doing something bad, but because you simply can't handle it. I don't follow people that, like, a lot of the workout people I follow, I don't follow nobody that makes me think I need to change my body. Not because they're trying to make me think that, but if I have an insecurity that's triggered with them, or it makes me feel like, dang, I ain't doing enough, I don't need to be following that person. Maybe our goals are not too much aligned. Maybe that's the area I need to grow on myself. But whatever it is, I don't need to prove anything to anybody while I'm working on myself. So if I'm following somebody that's not making me feel good about myself, I'm not going to blame them. I'm simply going to unfollow. I need to be following people that make me feel like my goals are attainable. That doesn't have to be personal. That doesn't have to be personal. I also unfollow things that don't make me feel good. I do not follow the shade room. Sometimes I see the post, but that's either somebody else might have shared it, or I have to specifically go there and get it. And don't get me wrong, the shade room is actually I've worked with them before. They were a great company to work for, but that is a lot of information at one time. Not work for, I've shot for them for. That's a lot of information at one time. I don't want to take in that much information. I don't follow a whole bunch of news outlets. So yeah, make sure you pick treat everything that you see as your vision board. So your timeline on social media, it needs to be things that make you feel good, make you feel empowered, that make you feel whatever, but something that you can relate to. Next, in the car, if you can try not to listen to regular music, do that. Listen to meditation music, sound bowl music, jazz, something without words, something educational, or something inspirational. If you could take all of your car time and change it to something like that, do you know how much that would change your life? Even if you don't want to work out, even if you don't want to eat differently, it will change your energetic levels. It will change your frequency. If nothing else, do that. When I feel like, damn, I know I need to make some changes, but I don't know where to start, sometimes I just start with changing those things. What am I listening to every day? What am I looking at every day? Putting my goals on my screensaver. Even if you don't make a collage, make a list. 5 goals for the year. Just so you could see it every single day. On my rolling tray, my rolling tray, I had one made that says a millionaire. What I used to use it back in the day before when I made my first million. It says, a million is just da 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 every week or something like that. I gotta find it, but put a saying on there. Put a saying on there. Whatever you see consistently, you will get more acclimated to. It'll be normalized for you. Okay. All right. Let me make sure I have everything else. Oh, also make sure you have a pre-reward system and a pre-crash out system. Okay, let's talk about the rewards first. A pre-reward system is a way to show up for yourself on different price ranges. What are 3 things that you can do that are free that make you feel better, or that you can reward yourself with, that maybe don't have to revolve around food, or maybe don't cost more than $10, or da 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 da, right? Making it realistic. What's on a level of 1 to 3, maybe 1 being like the most convenient, the cheapest, then maybe something that's in the middle, and then maybe something to look forward to. Using a reward system on yourself is going to help. If you have not taken my masturbation and manifestation course, please make sure that you check my links. That's a great class to take. We have talked about that in our Patreon group as well. If you missed it, we can always do it again. But yes, please make sure that you look at that. But reward systems, like sometimes for me, it's like, you know what? I'm going to follow this for 4 days and I'm going to go to the beach on Saturday. What's your thing? But like we're reparenting ourselves, and like it's really easy to talk about like, oh, I've never been handled like this, or like, oh, I've never experienced that. Well, who gonna do something about it? You gotta do something about it. Okay. Next, your crash out, pre-crash out. When I feel like I'm about to crash out, I have a list of things to do as well. So maybe that looks more like giving yourself a bubble bath, giving yourself a face mask, putting my child to bed early, staying up doing a sambo session, calling my best friend. Like what is on my list? You know what I'm saying? What are some things to do when I'm about to crash out that'll help ground me? Having a pre-ground list is important. Having a what do I like, how do I like to celebrate myself plan list is very important, because a lot of times we don't know, and so when it happens, we're just unprepared. We're unprepared to celebrate ourselves. Sometimes you don't need that pack of Oreos. Sometimes you just like, you know what, when I have a sweet tooth, there's a coconut yogurt ice cream that can get me by. There's this handmade peanut butter that tastes like Reese's Pieces to me. Like, I have a list of, before I lose my mind and I'm about to go in and overindulge in whatever it is, I have some things. So having pre-lists of things that help you, having my pre-list of restaurants that are not crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, trying to figure it out. Having a pre-list of restaurants that fit your fitness goals, but also gives you that feeling of, oh, I get to go out to eat. Because sometimes we just want to go out to eat. You know what I'm saying? And however you feel is valid. I'm trying to help you take care of you in a realistic way that does not... What's a realistic way? If whatever you eat consistently could make you blow up and be unhealthy, that's not realistic. I'm trying to create a life that is healthy. So like when I want to go eat out, I can eat out without feeling bad because this food is made fresh. One of the things I like to do when it comes to eating out, when I'm trying to like do better, if I eat out, I would choose to only eat out at restaurants that are not American restaurants. Like, for example, I'll go to an Indian restaurant, or I'll go to, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. And I say that, what's another one? Ethiopian restaurants, things like that. A lot of those ingredients are fresher and they're healthier. When I go eat at those restaurants, I'm very regular. You know what I'm saying? Like little things like that where it's like, it's out to eat. It's really, really good, but it's healthier because they make everything from scratch. Like, it's little things like that. You want to go out to eat and you went to go get Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? I like this little Indian restaurant that's in Atlanta. I forgot what it's called, but they got a great grilled salmon and cauliflower bites or something. Like, it's such a light meal, but it tastes so good. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get those lists together so you have your go-tos before you're about to lose your mind. Okay? All right. Next, I'm going to, lastly, rather, I'm going to give you guys my manifestation codes. Okay? These are your ChatGPT codes. Okay? This is what I want you to do. So in a part of my masturbation and manifestation course, I give you guys a whole bunch of things that have to do with manifestation. This is the ChatGPT portion of that class. Okay? So what I want you to do is, first of all, if you use your ChatGPT regularly about you and mostly just you, this will work for you just fine. If you don't, start off with telling ChatGPT who you are. Hey, ChatGPT, I'm going to ask you to do some stuff, but I think you should have some background about me, whatever. And give it a whole bunch of information about you. Tell it how old you are, what your desires are, what you want to do for a living, what you do for a living, what your kids, just a whole bunch of information about you. So that way it has a synopsis about you, information about you. My ChatGPT, I be asking about my tiny house. I was asking it about the content house when it was open. I was asking it about my zodiac stuff. So it had a whole bunch of information about me already. But the first one that you're going to do is, and this is going to be the basis of all of these posts. So this is the one prompt that needs to be basically correct, and then you can build off of that. I want you to type in what you want your life to look like. The more details that you give it, the better it will be. For example, back when I was trying to keep the content house open, I wrote a prompt and it was like, I desire to have a full team that supports me in the content house, and it makes enough in residual income that I can come and go as I please. I live in Florida with my son part-time, and we have a dog named Pork Chop, and I have a love, and I work out 4 days a week. These are the type of workouts I like to do. I work on these passion projects. I do this, I do that. Like, I gave it my dream list of what I think right now that I want my life to look like, right? Within reason. Like, some of those things aren't things that I thought I was going to have this year. It was just like, what do I see my life look like? But in 5 years, what I vision my life looking like is this, right? And it was a long paragraph. It went over how many kids I'm having, how many pets I have, how many date nights, what my self-care schedule looks like, weekly, I have these 3 friends. I've written 2 books. Whatever you want, put it in there. And at the very end of it, I want you to say, knowing this, please create a short story of what my life would look like. That's the first prompt. The second prompt, if you like that, if you don't like that, keep working with that until you get a story that you like. The second prompt, using the above story, please tell a story of a day in my life as if I have everything on this list now. Okay? So it should read like a current story. Please tell this story in present tense as a day in my life as if I have every single thing already. Then I want you to ask ChatGPT, with the above story, please create me some custom affirmations that I should be saying daily to help me bring in the above life that I desire. Something in that sort, right? Now, I will tell you guys the truth. When I did this the first time, I loved the affirmations that it gave me. Then a few months later, I did it again because when I first did this, I thought I was keeping the content house. When I realized I wasn't, I had to go in and I redid my affirmations and my story. The affirmations were not as good. And I have seen people saying that ChatGPT has been changing. It's been lying a little bit. I don't know if they've adjusted it so that way the free version don't give you as good as what the paid version do. I don't have the paid version, so I wouldn't know. But if you feel like it's too basic, either use a different ChatGPT prompt or just dismiss it. Okay? If you feel like it helps you, use it. If it doesn't resonate, let it go. And then next, I asked it to, using the above story of how I envision my life, please create a collage, right? Now, I also did, for the collage picture part, I did write a new thing. So like on your vision board as a cartoon, like, so for example, my best friend is a doctor of physical therapy. He didn't know a lot about ChatGPT, and so I was trying to show him how the images work. So I typed in ChatGPT, please create an image of a black man, medium skin tone, with dark locks about shoulder length, with him meditating, surrounded by topics such as health, wellness, movement, physical therapy, yoga, and please include the like tree of life symbol, or so, it was something like that. And then it created a picture with him, a guy in the middle meditating, and then it had a collage of like different floating fruits and like yoga mats, and it was really nice, right? So you can do something like that, or you can create images one by one and then take all the images and then put them into a collage separately. That's what I did. I created images. I think I created like 4 images, and then I just used a separate collage app and put them in and then save that to my screensaver. But also you can take images from Pinterest or whatever and just go into Canva and create a collage and then put it on your screensaver. I took the collage and then I took the collage picture that it created, and then I also put that in a collage so that way the whole screen was covered, right? Because sometimes when you make one collage, that's not enough to fit the whole screen. So after I made a collage, I saved it. Then I made a collage of multiple pictures of the collage, right? So I added the collage to it like 4 times, and then I download that as a picture. Anyways, the last thing that I want you to do is ask ChatGPT, please describe my life. Please describe what a day in my life feels like using only emotions, adjectives, and characteristics, just in case the life that I'm envisioning looks different and so that I can recognize it by how it feels. This was one of the most beautiful responses that I've ever got. Again, this was something that I did before. I hope that ChatGPT is still cooperating, but if you join one of our Sunday Patreons, then we talk about we've shared some of these things. I'm not going to share it on here because this is like my public video about this, but if you have different questions about that, you can always join and ask me about it. But yeah, so this is a whole lot of information. I do not want you to feel pressured to do any of these things. I want you to take from it and figure out, oh, that sounds like something I can do. Oh, that feels like a good idea. You don't have to do everything. Every single major life change that I've made in my life started off with a New Year's resolution. And that's a full list of my approaches that I've learned over time. And so it's kind of like Jenga. When you're playing Jenga, you look for the block that's loose. And so when I go over those lists of things to help me create my goal list, if something feels like forest, I just don't feel like doing, I skip it. I do something else, but it's so many things on that list. I find ways to keep myself motivated because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get through doing a new habit 28 days, right? I'm just trying to get through a habit of doing it 75 days. Because after that, it's in my routine and I don't have to think about it anymore or whatever. Okay? So let me know if this helps. Drop any questions that you have below. And I hope that you guys check out our Patreon community. All of my old content. I'm a creator. I'm a serial creator. So all of my creations are there. But also, if you have never heard of Not Just on the Sex Podcast, you can look at all my stuff below and see all the stuff that I've created. But I hope to see you guys on Sundays where we talk about these things. We apply them. I give you guys feedback. And then also on Sundays for Wet Wet Wednesdays where we talk about intimacy and so much more. So my job is to help you to create a life that you don't need a vacation from and helping you to create a life that you desire. So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Bye.